friends between and beyond, and welcome to a very special episode of Cooks Continental Breakfast, the improvised world-building podcast guaranteed to feed a hunger you didn't know you had. I am Mitch, the Monster Chef.
My name is Dishbot, and tonight I will play the role of Jack.
And Vinny, the Saucy Spicerer. I feel like I'm becoming a bit of a permanent fixture here now, boys.
He got back in.
Yeah.
I thought we boarded up that window.
No, I never actually left. So,
He's actually a very talented hacker.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Look,
He's back in.
I gotta say, boys, but when it's time for me to go, good luck.
Yeah, you're in the walls.
I got some,
you know the layout of this place.
Yeah, I got my goops and my spices just about everywhere. So,
you're stuck in. That's right. Welcome to our show where we are lovingly sauteing up a continent, one country at a time. Join us here in the kitchen of creativity as we take a random prompt, add a few secret ingredients, and turn it alchemy-like into a country ready for you, that's right, you, to projectile vomit into whatever creative bucket takes your fancy. Now, before we get cooking, we've got one chef who's braved great distances to slap the hashtag #HookCooksWereHere tag on another slice of this world pie we're serving up. Oh, Connor, critter of the larder, hear and answer our prayer. What news?
Okay, is it on? Okay. Hello, boys! Ahoy! It's me, Connor, your larder critter, back on the front lines. When I heard I was headed to SeaWorld, home of the incredible flaming waterhole, I was thrilled. Finally, a nice, relaxing assignment. But, first impressions? Rustic. Smoky, and the locals? Well, let's chat with one of these fine hippo folk. Are you there? Hi, yes. Reporting for Hook Cooks. Tell us about SeaWorld.
You scraggly barnacle-brained bilge monkey, hello. You're welcome to SeaWorld. You stand before the incredible flaming waterhole, a beast of the brine, a terror of the tides, and the pride of every salty soul who's ever dared to dance with destiny.
Yes, the locals seem very proud of this place. Can you tell us more?
Oh, you land-loving leech. The incredible flaming waterhole ain't just a whirlpool. She's a legend, a lifestyle, a brand. And for a limited time, we're offering the Flaming Admirals package. You get a guided stroll along the waterhole's fiery rim, a complimentary souvenir portrait, frame sold separately, and a front row seat to the greatest show on the 17 seas.
A front row seat?
Aye, you lily-livered landlubber. It's a plunge into the heart of the flame, a dance with destiny. Think of it, lad. You could be part of the brand, part of the legend, all for the low price of, let's say, 50 pellets.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'll just observe for now.
Suit yourself, you pellet poor pollywog. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a date with a barrel of rum and a seagull what owes me a favor.
Well, folks, there you have it. SeaWorld, home of the incredible flaming waterhole. This is Connor, your larder critter, signing off before I'm enrolled in a premium package. Back to you, boys.
Oh,
dear.
I don't know. It sounds good to me.
Sounds great to me.
I like it.
Man, I cannot wait until we get our corporate-sponsored excursion. That's definitely where I'm going my...
Yeah. Fun for the whole family. And thank you, Connor, for chiming in from overseas. Now, I think it is time to put griddle to the metal. I'm not sure where that was going.
Yeah.
But I love it. Chefs, BFFs, let's get cooking. Vinny, what is the prompt today?
Tonight's prompt is unkempt stars.
Mm-hmm.
The nasty stars. These are the stars your mama doesn't want.
Kempt stars. No, that's right. Don't introduce these stars to your parents.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Jack. Sorry, the triad is not complete.
You want me to say the
Yes, you have to say it. Otherwise we cannot never be broken from this curse.
Otherwise, we don't know if you can, and we'll go the whole
How
episode
about
not knowing.
I think it? Or can I write it down?
At some stage over the next 30 minutes, you gotta say it, man.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
Jack,
I can't
write it down.
Unkempt stars. I release the gin.
Oh, Jesus.
Vinny, take it away, buddy.
All right, we're going to start here in the Best Before Yesterday segment where we go digging through the kitchen and trying to find all the old nasty goop.
Yeah, what do you got? What do you got for us, goop-wise?
All right, here we go.
Goopus. Drown us in your goop.
Yesterday. You call this the Milky Way? I call this the Have You Lost Your Way? Look at this goddamn mess. Was I a bad parent? Pick up all your damn cosmic bodies and stack them over back on the shelf in the celestial order. Your chaos to order balance is way off, kid. I cannot believe I called my child a cosmic deity with how chaotically these stars have been scattered. It looks like a butterfly could flap its wings over here and cause a tidal wave over there. My God, I'm lucky I came and saw this when I did. Now get your act together and align those stars, bucko. You're on thin ice.
Don't tell your parents, but kids are discovering entropy.
It's happening.
That's good stuff. Those
Not an Eton mess, but a galactic mess.
Like a galactic mess, this one. That was great stuff. I loved it.
Well, Jackie, how about you?
I can show you the nasty workings of my inner mind. Here we go. Unkempt stars. This is the stretch of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which houses the stars who have not paid their yearly maintenance fees, and as a result have plaques covered in what is often decades' worth of accumulated grime and filth. Beloved icons such as Randy Quaid, Siegfried and Roy, and Chevy Chase adorn Unkempt Stars Road, prompting dozens of people every year to wonder whether they took a wrong turn back at Lucille Ball.
Dear, oh dear.
Nice.
Target painted squarely on Siegfried and Roy's forehead there. I'm coming for him.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, watch out, guys. Well, we're like two sides of a different mirror, Jack, you and I.
Oh, yeah. But I say that to everyone.
I know. Yeah, I keep telling you to stop.
Yeah.
Since the day Aragorn, bloody, grimy, and hot as hell, pushed two doors open in the Two Towers, people have been addicted to Unkempt Stars, the monthly magazine showing off some of the most physically attractive people in the world engaged in some of the least physically attractive activities and somehow pulling them off. In this issue, Henry Cavill talks how getting neck-deep in monster viscera as Geralt of Rivia revolutionized his love life, plus tips from our top makeup artists on how to take those gritty scars from adding drama to adding dreaminess. Get your copy of Unkempt Stars today, wherever all bad magazines are sold.
I can see this. I can see this product, like, up there right next to...
I mean, the magazine industry is dying, and I think this is maybe the kick in the ass that it needs.
Yeah, to get into the grave? Or...
maybe, right? Maybe this is the final nail in the coffin, or maybe this is the revolution that we've been waiting for printed magazines.
This revolution will not be televised, but it will be written in tabloid journal.
Sold on your corner by a sort of Victorian busker boy who defies sort of modern trends.
And I mean, there's not enough said about the plight of the Victorian busker boy and how that's connected with the plight of magazine media.
If they didn't spend so much time answering questions of old men wondering what year it was, maybe they would.
Maybe they'd be more able to sell newspapers. You're so right,
and that's right. It is a cutthroat industry out there. The sales game.
That's all a very nasty, horrible inner working badness. Let's move on to some of the good stuff, some of the meat and potatoes, where we'll start diving into the details of this week's country. We've each come up with a pre-prepared segment covering one of three themes: people, place, and environment. Once we've sampled each dish, we'll jumble it all together in a pot and get a taste for this corner of the continent we've been cooking. Mitch, please present to me your meat and potatoes.
Okay. So this week I was taking the place of Unkempt Stars. It has been centuries since the observatory last awoke. Finely crafted wheels and dials of brass and bronze are rusted and entwined with overgrowth. In its time, it was a place of worship, of science and religion, history and progress. The age of those stargazing explorers, however, has come and passed, and now the observatory sits quiet, slowly decaying in the mountain breeze, untouched by all but a few wild beasts and a slowly dwindling trickle of curious hikers. It was built for a reason, though. The stars tell many secrets, and the dance and sway of the planets through the void above can be read and understood, if there are any left who know the language. A grinding, screeching groan of rusted metal is the wake-up call, startling rodents from the bushes and birds from trees, an echo of whispers that ripple across the grass as tiny, delicate pieces of the great latticework shift and hum into place, twisting to face something above, a bright spot in the clear night sky, glowing like a terrible opal eye in the firmament. The observatory stares up, trembling in warning as long corroded supports find themselves tested once again. Light refracts from above, burning a beam through the night sky as the ancient Unkempt observatory locks its mechanical eye on something much older and stranger. A terrible hum emanates from the light, and none but Ozymandias Dreg, camping nearby, hears it, and, compelled and confused, begins to dance.
Final word twist. that's
Massive twist.
That's good. Okay, I'm really glad. I like the direction that you've gone down. You know, I mean, I guess it just falls right into my wheelhouse of kind of like weird, spooky, ambient, kind of cool. I dig it. Eldritch beings from far distant universes that are looked at by a telescope and somehow affected by just looking at something.
Forcing people to dance.
Yeah, forcing people to dance. But I really appreciate that this is kind of, you know, when I was writing my segment that I'm sure I will talk about later, I went in a very distinct
I'm sure you will.
and hearing your best before yesterdays, I'm like, oh man, I hope you guys didn't fixate on celebrities because it's going to be really hard to put these particular pieces together.
Wow.
So yeah, really, I'm happy. I'm happy that we're here.
Appreciate it. Yeah. No, I saved the celebrities for later.
Yeah.
They will be manning this particular.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dancing with the Stars, right?
Hey, intergalactic Dancing with the Stars.
Vinny, please present to me your meat and potatoes.
All right. Come, gather round, young ones. Let me tell you what we know about the stars. You know that we are made of stardust, but it may come as a surprise to learn that the opposite is also true. Twinkling, burning blobs of you and I, licking with tongues of fire, attached to the sticky black web strung across the colossal sky dome. When I was young, my mother never told me about her. Usually she is quite good at keeping herself hidden, carefully moving across the dome so as to not cover any of the lights. Her charred and blackened carapace blending effortlessly into the sunless skies. She spins her webs endlessly, from dusk until dawn. It's her work that prevents the sky from being a dark abyss, devoid of hope and meaning. The ever-shifting nightscape depicts tragedy, catastrophe, calamity. But they don't seem to be threats, more like loving and careful warnings of things to come. And she guides us true. Many of the seers call her Night Mother, and that she watches over us. Those who roll the bones and read tea leaves are unaffected by her ways, but those that read the stars have been growing increasingly worried. Tonight we light this incense and whisper a prayer to our Mother of Night.
Okay, so it sounds like a spider up there.
Yeah, big space spider.
Yeah.
I hate that.
So I focused on
it's so cool, but like I hate spiders so much, man. And like the idea that there's a big one up there, no thank you.
the general vibe was that it's, you know, she's like of mythological, Could be true, could be kind of true, could be just like trying to explain something else that's happening. But she a big sky spider, diligently every morning spins a web, every night cleans it up, holds all the stars in place, but also more importantly, aligns the stars in a way to like predict bad things from happening.
Yeah, that people can read them.
Read
right?
and avoid the calamities.
That's so
like
cool.
her followers. That's really cool.
her followers or whatever. Either way, it's kind of like the general vibe is that no one really fears her, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's not
Even
kinda
though
like,
she's
like,
scary as hell.
I do. It's the thing, but I suppose I'm a long way away.
Yeah.
So
I
I'll
mean, the
probably be
visual
all
of
right.
this thing just scuttling across the sky and like plucking stars from the firmament and moving them around to spell out like
fire!
don't invest
Exclamation
in
mark.
Bitcoin or something.
Bitcoin. There's a trending downwards arrow.
Yeah, I hear you like eat 5 giant night spiders
Cosmic
when you're
horrors.
asleep. Cosmic horrors, night spiders when you're asleep.
Yeah.
Like over the course of your life.
And the sixth one wakes you up.
The 6th one kills you.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
right.
Let's go on.
shall you add another piece of pie to this puzzle, Jack? Can you present to us your meat and patet?
Sure can. I was doing people this week. Here we go. Sonia grit her teeth, leaned against the wall, and sucked in a deep breath. She had not slept for 48 hours. She couldn't remember the last time she ate properly. She was near the end now, though. She could feel it. Just a few weeks ago, she had been blessed. The agent of the church, the grand unknowable being she had spent her life hearing about, learning about, loving, had reached out to her and touched her mind. The spark of inspiration that hit her was more like a thunderbolt. Before, she had been a casual pianist. After, music flowed from her like a broken tap. When it became clear what had happened, her parents sent for emissaries from the church, and everyone rejoiced. Another member of their community had been chosen by the agent to bring its grand works into the material plane. Sonia did not join the celebrations. Instead, she played. She played until her fingers cramped. She played until she collapsed onto the keys. She played and played and played. In the brief moments where she had some respite, she hummed chords, tapped rhythms with her foot, whispered melodies. Time moved differently, at some points frighteningly fast, at others agonizingly slow. She was more music than person, her consciousness a mere passenger to the endless song pouring through her mind. She took another deep breath, pushed herself off the wall, and waved away the emissaries, offering her food and drink. They scuttled back to the desks they had arranged around the room, ready to begin recording her every movement. She turned back to the piano, her eyes set. It was almost done. The wave of inspiration was beginning to trickle. Soon, her moment would be over. She cracked her knuckles, grit her teeth once more, and began to play.
I
Haunting.
think Sonia's gonna be a star.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. So I had considered in this, they play until they die, right? And I purposely stepped away from that because, like, I want it to be like you just sort of are pushed to like pure exhaustion by this magical deity. All this ability and energy flows through you
Limitless. You pill
art.
yourself.
Yeah, you limitless pill yourself in one very like specific way, and you can't rest until you come down.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, look, I already see a connection here. Maybe this could also express itself in, say, dance.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's what I was going to say. Is like I think that we've all sort of, in a weird way, sort of talked about cosmic deities, like people reaching out and touching other people from like the great beyond. That definitely seems to be a big feature for this country that we're exploring.
I very much appreciated Jack because I could almost feel it coming when you were talking about how she played until her fingers cramped, and then she played. I was like, she's gonna play until her fingers bleed, and that's gonna like just wreck the piano.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't go there.
Yeah, the people are excited about it. It's not nice.
No,
it's not a pleasant thing.
The vibe, I think the vibe that you portrayed really well is it's like everyone seems hype and excited about doing it, but it's a very painful
thing
very
to
like
do.
super exhausting, as you described before. Like, it could even be seen as this is how art and culture are. This is what happens worldwide, and
totally
to appreciate
in this country, right? Like we are sort of bound by the territory that we're in. But,
yes,
I definitely
Cosmic
think
entities very specifically interested in this.
Just right here, like on these.
There was
the star gods have no need for other countries.
There aren't actually any stars in any of the other countries on this continent. It's all
there was
this country.
A short story about an eldritch connection that I read once that was like similar to this, but it was like as the Earth moves through space, it just like coincidentally somebody looking at the right place in the star is like exactly looking at the right place that this cosmic entity is like hundreds of light years away, and just by freak coincidence it's like, oh, they just instantly connect, and then it's like so that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. It's just like right time, right place, no meaning, no reason, no rhyme, just happened.
There are cosmic entities in the sky that are interested in this place, and what those entities do varies. Right? Some are sort of arranging, sort of the story that Vinny told. They're arranging stars and moving things around and sending messages.
Well, I guess it's like they're sending messages, but in different languages.
Yeah. No, that's
trying to get their words out.
Yes,
in a way that is unknowable to humans, but takes over their creative side or something. It's all interpretive, I guess.
I would like us to touch on, even if very briefly, why so many different entities are hitting just the country.
That's what I was going to say. Is before we get into the actual world building thing, I think we need to figure out most of what we've done is like actually not within the country itself, which I think is fine, right? Like we have this idea of there being a culture where people like celebrate when these people are touched, and so like that's sort of the most important thing about this place, and it's sort of its defining characteristic. I don't think we need to sort of outline it more.
The way that I thought the observatory could work is that it's sort of like that linking thing. Like that's what makes this country connect in a way that the rest of the world doesn't.
Oh, true.
Sort of like is
they're looking at
looking
the
glass
observatory.
sort of thing.
And like
to weave sort of all of our stuff together, right? What if rather than I know you'd painted it as being kind of ramshackle, Mitch, but what if it is like the center, like it's a really super nice observatory, right?
Sure, yeah.
Or it's just like being added on and it's sort of kind of mix and match. Like people have been just adding to it and adding to it over. But it is like the center of this civilization.
Yeah.
And it's got Vinny's like coven of witches reading the stars in it. And they are the head of this church that I had outlined as well. So that's sort of like the balance. It doesn't necessarily have to be a church, right? But they're at least the head of this like society, right? Like people are like really interested in what they've got to say.
One thing I kind of like is that the rest of the country is, I'd imagine, like it's just a perfect circle of whatever diameter these like it around the observatory. Like everything within that range of the observer is affected by these cosmic viewers.
Yeah, it's like it's Orthanc. Right? Like like center point where Saruman hangs out.
Yeah. And then just like the split around it is just that country where everyone is sort of hooked in from the space.
Hey, Midi, when you were describing the way that the observatory was unkempt before, the way I had kind of been picturing it in my mind is like it used to be this super ancient structure. And it's like the ancient mega structure is still there, you know, the giant like stone pillars and like the roof and the like partial dome. But on the inside, everything is new. So it's like, you know, you've got all your fancy lasers and mirrors and machines.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
Working on it and stuff. But it's still like inside this old like ivy covered.
Yeah, because it's like the place that's important as well. And they've like taken the ancient observatory and modernized it.
Well, yeah, maybe it's this coven of star witches have recognized that, like, that observatory has drawn the attention of these cosmic entities, and so they've, like, done it up on the inside to like they like live in there, and like they've added a bunch of like modern
to try and like catch
gadgets.
and record and
that
like,
sort of stuff.
Analyze. I suppose it depends what kind of time period we want to set this place in, but
it would make sense why they would then be sort of the center of this culture then, right? Because they can effectively like read what the entities are sort of saying, whether it's in the sky or like they can like look at this person's music or their dance or their acting or painting or
sculpting,
playing of the kazoo and sort of divine the future. That's cool. I think that's like enough, right? For like the way this culture works. It's like it's kind of like beaten down, but they've all gone very hard into the like divining the future path.
And they absolutely just love music and dance and art, and it's sort of like, I guess it's like now driving their civilization forward.
Very much so. Well, should we run over to the spice rack here and now and sort of start building out this little country?
No, Jack, we should never run in the kitchen.
Right. I am carrying 10 knives. So you're saying I should walk?
Yeah. Walk or sprint.
Right. It's extremely dangerous what I'm doing now. So I should run to where the knives are stored so I can put them down.
Oh no, Jack, the floors are slippery now.
Okay, so on the spice rack, we'll select a herb, which will act as our inciting event. This is a pivotal moment within our country's history, which will form the basis for our conversation. And then we'll pick out a couple of spices, which are scenario cards, which will add a little bit of flavor to what we're looking at tonight. So the inciting event this week is all adults fall asleep.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, is this a message from the gods?
Like an age? I mean, like clearly, right? Like it's some entity's influence. But it's like, why targeting people by age? What's the importance?
Yeah.
They want everyone else to be able to ride a roller coaster.
They're setting up... No, we've already done SeaWorld, guys. We've already done SeaWorld. I'm not going back.
They're like, if none of the tall people are awake, all of the short people can ride.
That's it.
That's the way roller coasters work. Is
you have to be this high to ride it. And who checks? The high people.
It's that we fill the seats based on height. And there's not enough seats for everyone. Maybe, I guess the things that immediately stick out to me would be like, maybe they can only target adults. Like, they can't. There's something about the innocence of a child that can't be sort of
not a fully developed brain.
Yeah. Or, these guys just love kids, man. Those crazy
they just love grown-ups.
Let's take a step away from that statement, and let's go.
No, like you can platonically love kids. It doesn't have to be a weird sex thing, Vinny.
I don't know what Vinny. These random ageless cosmic entities, they just love kids, bro.
Platonically love children. It's fine.
I'm wondering whether putting all the grown-ups to sleep is a protective thing or a aggressive thing.
I'm feeling like, okay, all right, pitch idea. Young adult teen battle royale is about to happen. And all the grown-ups have gone to sleep, and the kids have to save the universe.
So it's teenager purge night.
Teenager purge night. And to help with that, the Eldritch gods have put all the adults to sleep.
This reads so hard like young adult fiction, though, right? Like, we've accidentally stumbled into a genre that we didn't...
It's got kind of a Day My Bum Went Psycho.
It's like the Day My Bum Went Psycho meets the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at writing young adult fiction, so I just kind of wanted to point that one out.
It could be.
Something there. I think it kind of has to be something around like it can't target kids, right? Like I can't think of why else.
There's something big happening, and either they don't want the grown-ups involved for whatever weird
But
reason.
why just the grown-ups? Like, why would you be like, it's okay if kids are involved? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe the thing that's happening or something that's happening can't affect kids and it can't affect people who are asleep.
Right, it's
Like
tax
there's
season.
like the tax season is coming. And if the parents are, as you all know, as all adults listening to this podcast know, if you're asleep when the new tax year rolls over, you don't have to pay any tax.
Don't have to pay taxes. Yeah.
And if you're a kid as well, you don't have to pay. It's the two ways you can get out of it.
There's two things
I think if you
can't
were
avoid.
in a sleeping beauty state of ever sleep and the government still made you pay taxes, I think that would be unfair. And I would stand with you on that. If you were just like in a glass like box, not doing nothing to nobody, and you still had to like, how are you earning money?
Yeah, who are you taxing? Like,
Your disability benefits get taxed.
Yeah, and hang on, those glass boxes don't make themselves, Chad.
Yeah. And who's like feeding you by tube?
Yeah, true. Okay. No, the big government, they're in the right on this one. Once again,
They are. We can always rely on them to stay in
we
the right.
should tax sleeping beauty.
Or to the right.
Okay.
Yeah. She's sleeping too much. How long are they falling asleep for?
Forever.
Forever.
Okay, shit. That's a
Definitely.
long time.
Yeah.
Well,
this is
like
forever
until
sleep.
whatever this event.
If it was 8 hours, that wouldn't be very interesting.
Well, yeah. I mean, but there's like a spectrum between 8 hours and forever.
Yeah, there
that
is.
maybe like informs.
The society does something to all of its kids when they believe that they're like getting into adulthood, right? They have some kind of ritual or ceremony.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And something that they do in that ritual or ceremony, either incidentally or deliberately, makes you vulnerable to the gods, the elder gods, right?
Yeah,
So it's like
okay.
They're
You
being
smoke
led
the
by this coven of
ayahuasca.
witches. Yeah,
Yeah.
they get the sacred ash on their head or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it's like, well, now you can pick up the signals that,
You open your third eye. And,
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, they transplant a receiver in your brain that
Great.
connects directly
Yeah.
to the observatory.
Which is probably
Yeah.
something that the Star Witches like learned about and
For sure.
were guided to do. And now
Right.
everyone who's done that has fallen asleep.
The intentions of these cosmic beings in making everyone asleep aren't necessarily something that we need to explore. It's just that this happens, and the reason why it happens is people have had this surgery. Right?
And it's
Um,
because it's what they want and
Yeah, it's
their
what they-
long-term
they
goal
want.
we can't comprehend.
Yeah, and there is something that comes out of that because obviously this culture descends into chaos because all the adults have gone to sleep permanently. So like it just sort of falls apart, and you have this like wild kind of Lost Boys situation
Yeah.
in what would I imagine be like before this happened quite a powerful place. Like if they can know what the future is, right? Like they'd be pretty well set up.
Well, wouldn't what we talked about before about like giving the kids the surgery that makes them in tune with the gods? So wouldn't that leave everyone left awake who cannot perceive?
Cannot
elders-
perceive the gods anymore.
Yeah.
The connection is shut off, and I don't imagine there would be anyone who would know how to. They might be
Undo
written down,
that.
I suppose. But
Yeah.
like,
I would
as soon
imagine,
as you do that, you fall asleep.
yes, yeah, and I would imagine that their first reaction would probably be to try and go to the observatory and
Yeah,
wreck some stuff.
yeah, possibly. Well, I guess to explore that a little bit more, let's talk about some scenarios, right? So the first one is something unattended spirals out of control.
Well, that's society, isn't it?
Well, I think let's get a little bit more specific than that, right?
Yes, yeah.
But there should be something that the adults were looking after, perhaps something that they were trying to contain
Or
in the sky or something
or-
like that, that is no longer being controlled and is, I suppose, posing some sort of threat.
Maybe they were trying to like harness the energy coming from the space. Like,
All right, twist. I really like what we've come up with in terms of like the unknowable stuff, but twist on it, right? And I think, it can play either way at the end. Like this isn't going to really matter all that much. But what if it is more of a direct link, right? in terms of where these entities are communicating to us, and like there's some like I suppose exchange or something like that, and they figure out that this like these like space witches have been like storing power from them or finding a way to capture power from them, and so their response is, well, you all go to sleep now. Like everyone who's had this surgery goes to sleep.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like wrathful.
Yeah, it's like okay, fuck you guys.
Yeah, that whole cult.
You're getting ghosted now.
Yeah. And so they have this like power source though that is becoming slowly unstable.
Yeah. So okay, all right. So what was the actual wording of the
something unattended spirals out of control.
Okay, spirals out of control. Sort of, it means it's going to be big, right? So I like the idea of this like secret power source that's been like, it's got unfathomable amounts of power if some kind of eldritch being is annoyed that you're taking it away, right?
Yes.
So it's big, right? It's like
It's
hadron
like a
collider, like some
it's like
nasty
10
stuff.
nuclear power stations bundled together underneath this telescope. Like that's all the stuff, the mods inside of it that they've been doing. Like they start off as like this coven of witches, and then they become like ultra tech because they can
nuclear engineers.
They can like tell the future, so they just get super advanced.
Maybe there's like an element where they think that this is what the cosmic beings want them to do, because they're sort of like encouraging tech development, but not realizing that any tech development is going to get turned to like power hoarding and greed and stuff like that,
capturing the power coming
natural resources.
Yeah.
Okay, so 10 unattended nuclear power plants spiraling out of control. I don't want to run towards
an explosion,
big we're gonna splinter the planet kind of vibes, right?
No. I mean, and if there was a big explosion, I think within the rules of this world that we're building, it would explode out to the border of this country.
The country is now big crater. Come on down the big crater.
Maybe what it is like, instead of exploding with like thermonuclear energy, it explodes with like a, I don't know, microwave radiation so powerful that everyone like mutates.
Oh. Yeah. Ooh. Okay, eldritch energy, right? Like they've just been gathering whatever pure eldritch magic.
Yeah.
And it just breaches contamination.
And there's like people that are close to it start like growing limbs and becoming like monstrous stuff. Kids.
Yeah,
actually, I think we'll find out.
Well, because all the grown-ups are asleep, and as we know, just like with tax time, when the mutation energy comes, you can't be turned if you're asleep.
You can't turn into a monster if you're asleep.
So is the end result is like, if someone were to visit this, it kind of feels like we're setting ourselves up into a scenario where it's like, oh, this whole country has like maybe weeks left, which makes it kind of not a very ripe place.
I think what we're saying is this whole country, it has like incredible riches in it that are
and
unattended, right? Like if you want to go in there to be an adventurer and loot it and stuff, like there are no adults around. Like you can do that.
They're all asleep. All of the adults are in their sealed glass boxes.
But the as a like radiation sort of thing, the longer you're in there, you start like growing tentacles and stuff, and eventually you turn into a monster.
And there's like hot spots and stuff too.
Yeah, totally.
And I think like the kids, it's not like I think they would be ageless after like absorbing that much energy.
I think that there's like an interesting route in this where like not everyone becomes full monster. Like there are some kids like swinging around on trees on tentacles and stuff.
Yeah, or even just some base normal kids that for whatever reason have like glowing eyes.
Boring ass kids.
Why have you come here? Oh my god. Okay, all right.
Well, they've just got like webbed toes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've sort of pivoted in a way that I am super into. We've got I'm getting like urban wasteland now, right?
For sure.
Like concrete everywhere, rebar sticking out of the ground, occasionally giant, huge hulking monsters walking around with like this magic Geiger counter with
Yeah.
like crystals in it, and it's
It-
like clicking and stuff.
super-
Like,
It matches out at 3.6
Fallout.
Röntgen.
To me, it's super Fallout in that
Yeah.
there is
Yeah,
this
Walker,
like
right?
civilization past that was really technologically advanced.
yeah, and they were also driven by like star divination, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for sure. Cool. That's dope.
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Let's do another scenario card here, which is diseases are mutating.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Sort of
some people call their kids a disease, but
sort of really flowing on from what we've already got, right? Like the idea of there being a mutation. I suppose with a disease though, maybe like that feels a little bit different.
the common cold, and maybe that can like be a risk that could be spreading to other countries. You know, like through adventurers that have come to try and get these.
Right.
You know, and it's like
could be
like it's like the places had to be quarantined by neighboring nations and things like that.
all right. I think it could be the main thing that people are trying to avoid by not coming here. So that kind of makes me think that this whatever eldritch radiation we've invented actually like gets in your bones and in your system, and if you go somewhere else, you take it with you.
Yeah, yeah.
You begin to radiate other things, and
you become a source of radiation. Yeah.
So that makes it. It's maybe not explicitly a disease, but like very disease-like.
No, I mean it's like a disease, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say also maybe it could alternatively be the sleeping sickness that is beginning to spread.
And change because of the radiation. I really like that. Like they've got this disease.
Yep.
Or it's manifested as a disease at least, right? Like through these elder gods.
Yep. And it impacts kids and adults differently.
Yes. Well, it just impacts adults, I think, at the start.
Because it puts them to sleep. But then
there's all this eldritch magic irradiating out into the country. And so, like, the magic that is putting the adults to sleep changes.
Yeah.
Because as a result of that.
Maybe that means some begin waking up. Maybe it means some begin moving around, but still asleep in some sort of like half dream.
That's
half
cool.
Waking
like
sort of thing.
They become this like kind of zombie-like race of like sleepwalking people.
Grown-ups who can't pay tax.
Sleepwalking grown-ups.
Tax-free.
It's getting back to the day my bum went psycho.
Okay, then they have to pay tax. There,
No,
fine.
I like it. I'm into it.
Magic.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, fun little weird kind of Fallout wasteland country.
Very stalker.
Very stalker, definitely. There's this coven of space witches make contact with these eldritch beings in the sky and start stealing some of their power, and then all the adults get put to sleep, and that eldritch power sort of irradiates out into the land and makes it scary and weird and wonderful.
And begins spreading outside of the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of, this country needs a name.
Does need a name.
Nuketown.
Chernobyl 2.
Call of Duty map.
Chernobyl Town. Something to do with divination, right?
Would they name it after the observatory?
The observatory or something.
Or the observatory,
Eye.
The
Observe
Nation.
Observe Nation.
Observe Nation.
Oculus Rift.
Oculus Rift. Meta. Just
I
call it
meta, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Oculus.
Oculus is interesting, yeah. Oculus.
Okay, I feel like the Eldritch gods would have had some kind of impact on this name, right? Been like, name your city this.
Occultulus.
It's something like the Grand Eye or something like that. Like it's the tower is what the country has ended up being called because it's like built around this one object.
I know we're a little late to inject themes, but I'm getting very like Russian bloc vibes from this giant observatory.
I used the opal eye as that was what was looking back at the observatory.
I like that. The opal eye.
and it's nasty space radiation.
Yeah, and it's got a little like a floaty worm sort of thing going on there.
Do you mean like Eye of the Storm, like the center point?
The Eye of the Storm, yeah. I like that vibe.
The
But
Eye
it's like-
of.
The Eye of... I had the Ozymandias
The Eye of Ozymandias?
was like the name of the first guy who started to dance. But Ozymandias is a cool name for an
It is a-
eye.
It's
Yes.
a cool name, and it like is sort of intrinsically linked to like the idea
The
of eventual
start.
decay, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. I like that. Like, it's this eye was like set up by a guy, and like he eventually saw that it
Well,
would
he
all
would-
sort of come
he
to
would-
ruin, or
he would-
no,
he
he
would-
thought it would be eternal, right?
He
Yeah.
would be the first person to make contact with the Eldritch, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
he would have then gone to the observatory and been like, "Guys, we
Well,
gotta
I'm
keep it."
saying he made it.
Yeah.
Like
Was
he
hi-
built
hi-
the observatory
His observatory.
Okay.
to make contact with.
It began with just
His
him as
other things.
as a guy with a like a looking glass.
Yeah, a really
Mm.
cool telescope.
Yeah, like a
Mm.
That
sick
he
telescope.
got for his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
by
birthday,
his
Ozymandias.
uncle. Like,
His cool uncle.
I like that a lot. The Eye of
Yeah.
Ozymandias
Deal.
is the name of this country.
Vinny, you on board?
I
Oh god.
Like, yes.
I get it.
Good stuff. And I guess with that, we need to leave you. So it's time to do a couple of thank yous. A big thank you to Helisna for our opening theme, and an equally big thank you to Avery Adler, who created the Quiet Year, which we've used as the basis for the world building game we play each
and
every
a
week.
special thanks to Jack's mum. Not
Yeah,
for
thanks, Mum.
reasons that influenced this episode, but just thanks.
Just
Thanks,
for
Jack's mum.
being.
Thanks. Yeah, it's nice to, fall back on an old classic. And
For
thank
sure.
you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the meal, please don't forget to tip your servers and leave a rating in the comment section of your favorite podcasting app.
I've been Dishbot. And tonight I played the role of Jack.
I'm Vinny, the saucy spicerer. Keep it sleazy, lemon cheesy.
And I am Mitch, the Monster Chef. Thank you all so much for listening. Are we happy, boys?
Yes.
Yes. Chef.
I'm a chef. Use my title. Jack.
Can I write it down?
Drown us in your comedy, Jack.
I mean, your comedy, senpai.
Senpai, drown me.
Senpai, drown me.
Your
Drown me
comedy,
in laughter,
please.
senpai.
Senpai, I can still breathe, Senpai. No. More comedy.
Senpai,